Jan Bula and Vaclav Drbola were two Czech priests who were hanged by communists after being falsely accused of participating in a conspiracy. Václav was born in 1912 in modern-day Czechia. His family was relatively poor, but he was able to attend a school an hour's walk away from his home. After graduating from the grammar school, he felt called to enter the priesthood. He was ordained in 1938 at the age of 25. Jan was born in 1920, about a 2-hour drive from Václav's birthplace. Growing up, he liked drawing and joking around, publishing a humorous magazine with his schoolmates. Jan wanted to become a priest, but he was pressed into forced labor during the Second World War. He was ordained after the war, also at the age of 25. Both men were assigned to parishes in the Moravian region of what was then Czechoslovakia. Václav was an extremely active priest in terms of both his personal hobbies and his charitable efforts. He loved sports, poetry, and helping others. He was a member of various charitable organizations, including one which helped young Christian workers. He also supported a theater society that was later suppressed by Czechoslovakia's new communist government. The suppression of Catholic associations in Czechoslovakia was a huge source of sorrow for Václav. He wrote that the persecution made him weep. Like Václav, Jan loved helping young people. He was very involved in his parish, teaching in the school, visiting the elderly, and leading children in outdoor retreats. He was very popular with his parishioners, and he too was upset about the government's suppression of the church. In 1948, Archbishop Josef Beran, leader of the Czechoslovakian Church, forbid Czech priests from taking an oath of allegiance to the government. He asserted that the church should have complete freedom. The communists put the archbishop under house arrest, then transported him to a secret location. Around this time is when one of Jan's old classmates named Ladislav Malý returned to the region after having lived abroad. This is where things start to get a bit confusing. Ladislav is a very mysterious figure. He claimed to be working as an anti-communist agent, but some people believe that he was actually a secret agent of the government. Others believe that he was simply an adventurer who suffered from mental illness. Ladislav contacted multiple people in Václav and Jan's vicinity, trying to enlist them in his schemes. He visited Jan, his old classmate, and claimed to have rescued Archbishop Beran from his imprisonment. He said that the archbishop needed Jan to hear his confession, but Jan was skeptical. He broke off all contact with Ladislav. 2 days later, Jan was arrested. In jail, he was tortured, losing his front teeth, leaving him unable to eat solid food. A couple of months after Jan's arrest, Ladislav approached Václav with the same story. This is where Václav's desire to help people got him into trouble. Ladislav told Václav the same story about having rescued the archbishop, and then asked Václav to connect him with members of the anti-communist resistance. Václav connected Ladislav with men he knew from his participation in charitable and cultural organizations, learning too late that Ladislav had already tried using this same story with Jan earlier. Václav was arrested the following month, dragged from his bed by the police. Like Jan, he was subjected to torture. His fingers were clamped and broken, and his fingernails were ripped out. His screams echoed through the halls of the prison. A man in the neighboring cell said, "They were interrogating Mr. Drbola in the next room, and he was shouting terribly, 'Don't step on me.'" While Václav and Jan were experiencing this horror, Ladislav orchestrated the murder of 3 communist officials. Ladislav was shot and killed by armed forces the following day, but some people thought his death was faked. We will probably never know for sure if Ladislav was working for someone or if he was simply a man suffering from mental illness. What we do know is that this incident, which became known as the Babice incident, was a convenient excuse for the Czechoslovakian government to double down on their persecution of the church and on Catholic clergy. In the aftermath of the murders, Father Frantisek Paril was arrested while praying. He was accused of giving Ladislav and other co-conspirators blessed rosaries, among other crimes. Like Jan and Václav, he was tortured too. 11 lay people were also arrested and charged with participating in the conspiracy. The government participated in a massive propaganda campaign against the men and the Catholic Church. Through torture, the men were forced into false confessions. They were all sentenced to death. Václav and Frantisek were hanged on August 3, 1951. Their characters were smeared after their deaths. I found this ridiculous and honestly infuriating article that was published describing how the people in Václav's village had lived in peace until this evil priest showed up, lost his mind, and incited murder. Jan would be executed later the next year on May 20th, 1952. His death took 15 minutes as he was slowly strangled. Václav and Jan were posthumously rehabilitated in 1990. Multiple monuments have been erected to commemorate their martyrdom. On October 24, 2025, Pope Leo signed an official decree recognizing them as martyrs. Their beatifications will take place sometime in 2026. Bishop Pavel Konspel said, "I have thought for a long time about the anguish they must have experienced, the injustice and the pain they endured, and yet they stood firm, faithful to the values to which they dedicated their lives, and were able to forgive their murderers. They are clearly role models from whom we can learn even today."